Hello, and a warm welcome to the Crone Zone. I'm Lynn, and today I want to discuss the upcoming full moon in Aries on the 17th of October. This will be taking place at 12:26 p.m. in the UK and at 7:25 a.m. if you're in the US. And obviously, if you're in different time zones to that, then the times may be earlier or later than those I've just given. This is going to be the largest supermoon of 2024, which means it's going to appear very large. It's going to be the nearest to Earth, with the moon at that point when it's closest to the Earth. And so we're going to be feeling this moon strongly. Its impact is going to be powerful. And that's before we even begin to look at the different components of this moon. It's an incredibly intense moon. In fact, the period from the 11th of October leading up to the full moon at the 17th is going to be an incredibly intense period. Let's discuss more of that later. There have been already quite a few rather grim interpretations of this moon. It certainly has its challenges. It's certainly incredibly powerful and very intense. Now, I have a vested, very personal interest in this moon. I'm always personally involved with astrology and the tarot that I deliver here. But this has special significance for me because this, for me, is not a passing moon, in that it is happening on my birthday, which happens to be the 17th of October. And it's also happening in opposition to my sun in Libra, which is at 24 degrees 5 of Libra. So this one has my name on it. And this is a bit of a solar return for me. And these are energies I shall be working with at least for the year ahead. So looking at what they mean and looking where the hope is in this situation, and also what my role is in it, is pretty important. Now, this Aries full moon is very orientated towards action. It's a moon that wants to act. And at all full moons, we have light shone on situations. And so there will be a call here to act on what's being seen and what's coming up. That's the first thing to take note of. But this Aries supermoon isn't travelling alone in the sky. It is conjunct Chiron in Aries. And Chiron may be those places where we are feeling harmed and wounded, hurts, abuses, things that have been done to us that we feel resentment about, woundings. And also close to the Aries full moon is Eris. Eris is the sister of Mars. Mars, as we know, rules Aries and is known as the goddess of discord. But this can be also about a lot of collective old pains from the past. Maybe this lifetime, maybe previous lifetimes, but there's a lot going into this focus on the moon here. Wounding, old hurts, shadowy old things that are coming up out of the darkness into light, some of which are not pleasant, and which this big Aries full moon is throwing light on. Now, clearly, there is a call to action with a full moon in Aries. But there's also going to be a need to temper that, which I will discuss when we look at the polarity over in Libra, where the Libra sun is. There's a call to action. Now, obviously, in our world at the moment, the temperature is pretty high in all ways, and the emotional temperature is running high between nations and within nations. And this moon may be sparking reactions. It may be a reactive, hasty, rash moon that rushes into action. And that's something that we should avoid, obviously. The Aries moon doesn't stop to consider. It takes action and then thinks about it later, and very likely to be spurred by emotion. And we certainly have causes for that spurring from both Chiron and from Eris. On a personal level, this will also be functioning. And there's an important theme to think of here, is that emotions will be coming up for us as individuals as well as for nations. They'll be coming up for us individually. They'll be coming from the past. They may be coming from areas where we feel slighted, harmed, mistreated, hurt, etc. Now, it isn't wise to bury emotions, especially ones which perhaps need to come up out of the dark into the light to be looked at. But the big caution here is don't deny feeling. That is never a good thing to do. Emotions are there, they cannot be denied. And if they are, they lead to more trouble because they become unconscious. So having these things come into the light can be a very good thing in that it enables us to look at them. What we have to avoid doing is rushing into reactive strikes about them, rushing into warlike responses and actions because of them. So the message here is own feelings that come up, but in no way feel compelled to rush into attack because of them. That's a very strong message here. So while the nodes of the moon have been between Aries and Libra, eclipses have been taking place between those two. And particularly in Libra, we had an annual eclipse in Libra in 2023, and we've just recently had another one on the 2nd of October. I have done a video on the eclipse, and it does feed very much into this full moon. It's part of an ongoing story that we are working our way through. But at that eclipse, Libra, all of us, through the energies of Libra at the South Node, we were looking at those aspects of ourselves typified by the more negative aspects of Libra that we needed to lose. They were, if you like, being over acquiescent, people pleasing, peace at any price, being afraid to rock the boat in any way, courting popularity and wishing to see ourselves reflected positively from other people. So much of that, the journey has been to work with reducing, eliminating, leaving those kinds of behaviors behind. And so we have an energy, if you like, in Libra that in many ways I think has been strengthened and purified by the big purging of the eclipse. And that is leaving Libra still with what I would say were some very fine qualities that can be most useful here to counterbalance the hot-headedness of Mars, the potential rashness of Mars. Now, the Sun is conjunct Astrea, the asteroid goddess Astrea. And Libra itself is a planet that is concerned with justice, fairness. That's very important, but so is Astrea. Astrea is very concerned that justice must be served. Now, clearly, there may be issues coming up with the Aries full moon where there have been gross injustices. And Libra and Astrea are very much saying wrongs must be righted, redress must be paid, balance must be achieved, fairness must be implemented. We also have asteroid Juno, again with the sun in Libra and Astrea. And this is this point of faithfulness, this point of loyalty, but also a demand for equilibrium and for fairness between individuals. So this is a very strong call coming from the Libran sun, is that justice should and must be served, but balance must be maintained, harmony must be maintained, and these things must be thought through. Now, the planet Jupiter, which is also very much about justice and the law, is also trining the sun in Libra and reinforcing this sense of working for the higher good, working for higher justice. That is very, very important. So we need to cool the temperature down. There's a need to step into the more rational analysis of things rather than the very action orientated fire approach. We need the air balance to the fire of Mars, particularly because Aries ruler, Mars itself, is squaring both the sun and the moon. So, that's quite an empowered and an aggressive force that's coming there. And that leads on to discussion of a bigger configuration that we have, which is known as a grand cross. This is a grand cardinal cross between the signs of Aries and Libra, where we have the full moon opposing the sun, and between Capricorn, where we have Pluto, and between Cancer, where we have Mars. So Cancer, Capricorn, Aries, and Libra are the four cardinal signs of the zodiac. They're the season starters, and they're all concerned with initiation and initiating action. They are all, in different ways, action signs. It's just that the mode of acting is different in each of them. So there's a big drive here to take actions. But the big question is, which actions? Are they wise actions? And we very much have, between Libra and Aries, the axes of war and peace. And we can see just how important it is that we try to stay on the side of peace rather than the side of war. So, through the whole of the eclipse process, we've been offered opportunities of maturation, to mature, to move more into a place of mastery of our own psyches, of our own selves. And with Mars opposite Pluto, which can be quite an explosive energy, and Mars in Cancer can be very triggered, it's important to keep our grace. It's important that we're not thrown off centre by events or by feelings that come up for us or situations. It's very important to hold the line of light, to hold our grace. And we've been helped in that recently by Venus's ascent through the first of the three chakras as she rises in the evening sky. And she has just recently passed through the solar plexus chakra, and her next station will be the heart chakra. And it's very important that we take the lessons from that ascent and hold those and work with those. If you want more information as well as a video on the recent eclipse, I also have a video up on the recent Venus stargate, the third stargate of Venus. Libra also asks us to return again and again to the question of imbalance, because there's a terrific amount of imbalance in our world. There are so many polarities, there are so many divisions, there are so many opposites which need to come together and be reconciled. And that is a key function that is an ever-ending process that we are personally engaged with reconciling the opposites inside of ourselves. We have an ongoing grand water trine between Saturn in Pisces, Mars in Cancer, and Venus in Scorpio. And at the moment, this trine, there's been terrific amount of flooding, a devastating flooding. It's heartbreaking to see the flooding that has happened in North Carolina, and then just this morning on 6th of October, when I'm recording this, in Bosnia. Just utter heartbreaking devastation for people. And this is so sad and so disturbing. But also it returns, I think, to this theme of imbalance and the wider theme of our imbalance in relationship. And, this axis is all about relationship, about where we need to harmonize and balance relationships. And a big one of those is our relationship with the earth, which has become unbalanced. We've been gifted this jewel box of an earth, this absolute treasure. And because of our imbalanced relationship with the earth, because we've had a very masculine, extractive mentality towards the earth, we're now in a situation of this dreadful climate change. And so again, we need to be restoring the feminine, the divine feminine into our world, into our own interior selves, and redress the balances. There's much work to be done here and much healing to be done. On November the 17th, I think it is, Pluto will move into Aquarius, and there will be a shift. There will be a change then, looking into future energies. What we're rounding up now is very much a look back at the destructive elements that have been in our world, of the injustices that have been there, of the structures that have needed overhauling. And there's no doubt that the current times, and this is typified by the current moon, are turbulent. They're disturbing, heartbreaking. But it does us no good to go into overwhelm about those things for any length of time. We must feel things with our hearts, of course we must, but we must use that feeling to determine for a better future. I think we have to keep working at balancing ourselves and hold the line for the light. There's a call with this moon It's a warrior moon, it's a fighting moon. But, to coin a cliche, the kind of warriors we must be are peaceful warriors for love and for light. And we must hold fast to that. We really must, because so much depends on it. So, on this Aries full moon, I shall turn 71. It will be my 71st birthday. And it is my belief and my hope that by the time I leave this world, I should be leaving it a better place than it is now. That things will change, that we will move forward. I have belief, hope, and faith in that. So, here's to that. And remember, these are times that will pass, they're difficulties which will go, and just to hold the line for the light. Thank you.